What is going on, everybody? BobbyFi with my man Eric Sheets Haber. We're going to be talking through the Sunday NFL slate as best we can from an early look perspective. A lot of stuff some stuff we don't know about yet, and some weird matchups, weird situations, and I'm sure there's going to be more stuff that we're going to be waiting on when it comes time. But Sheets, are you ready to do this?
Yeah, with any luck, all these games go off. So let's see what happens.
Go off or like?
No, they play.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Absolutely. All right. Well, let's pull your. Let me do this and pull your screen up and go game by game here because it is going to be.
All right. So we're going to start with Giants Philly, and we're already in a situation where we don't even know who's going to be quarterbacking for the Giants. They're thinking about going with Jake Fromm, who they picked up off the Buffalo practice squad a few weeks ago. I mean, there's no reason to play Mike Lennon as far as I'm concerned, as far as basically all the New York media is concerned. So I presume that that's what they're going to do. They're going to probably just play Jake Fromm. And it's going to be a pretty long day for the Giants. I've also heard rumors that they're thinking of either benching or at least time sharing Saquon.
Yeah.
With Booker. In either case, it's going to be a rough day for the Giants. Philly last night, they really, really took a while to get moving. Let's put it that way. And then they got their running game going, which is becoming pretty badass, if you want to know the truth.
It has been all season. They just been splitting it up between guys. Now they have less guys they're splitting it between.
Yeah, and Sanders, even though he didn't get a touchdown, he scored. He had over 100 yards rushing. And I presume that's what Philly's going to do. They're going to grind it on the ground. Hurts is going to get his, and they're going to cruise to a pretty comfortable win. I don't imagine, as a result, that from a fantasy perspective, it's going to be that useful, with the exception of, like I said, going to Sanders and the Philly defense, which certainly seems to make sense right off the bat. And then also, who remains cheap is Goddard at 5,100. He had two just atrocious drops last night, by the way. But that doesn't change the fact that
a monster game.
That he played a monster game, and he's a good price, 5,100. So those are the guys I would play. In the GBP, I don't know if I'd play Hurts. Because I just don't think this is the type of game that he's gonna smash. I think that it's gonna be a Sanders type game. I think that Hurts can do well, but I think it's Sanders and defense. And I really, at least first look, have just literally no interest in anything for the Giants.
I love Hurts. I love Hurts and to Goddard as one of my favorite combos of the week, maybe my favorite. I don't think there are games that Philly's good enough for him to be game proof. Exactly. You know what I mean? He's playing for his job too. They saw the two plays at the 1 yard line. They get down there and they run the quarterback keeper both times. And he runs for 2 touchdowns. Put up 29 fantasy points last night and played a pretty bad game. The Giants don't need to do much to hang in there. I mean, the Eagles are bad enough to where they can let you hang in there anyway. And I think the Eagles will probably win this game somewhat handily, probably. I think Golladay and Darius Slayton are long shot tournament plays, but I'm probably going to stay away. And my favorite play, honestly, in this game from the Giants is Evan Ingram. And it's weird because I like Goddard a lot. So maybe I'll get cute with one stack and play Ingram and Goddard and Jalen Hurts together.
So maybe you could okay, I'm sorry, I thought you were done.
Oh no, sorry. The only last one is Devontae Smith. I do like. I always want to take shots on them. Sorry, go ahead.
So maybe you could cast some light on this. I don't know if it's like a bit or just a Twitter fight or something going on with this. I don't know if you follow any of this stuff. There's some MVP type thing going on with there's like a bet with Brady and Rodgers, but people are suggesting that maybe Cooper Kupp should be in the running for MVP, or what? I don't know if you're following this, but there's like some.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about it. I'm a big Rams fan, obviously. I think that if there was the kind of year that someone you could argue for Cooper Kupp. But to be honest with you, I haven't felt this whole season like anything has changed for me since about halfway through the year. Which in that case, it was all going to be Kyler Murray for me. And then basically, since they started losing any games, I think it doesn't seem to make sense that Rodgers wouldn't be the MVP to me. Yeah. He's having a tremendous season. We know they're a different team without him, but I do think Cooper Kupp has got a legitimate argument, more than we've seen a receiver in a while. He's basically breaking every receiving record possible. you could definitely argue for him. I mean, he is incredible. Like it's incredible. It's not like fluky. And it's not like they're just forcing him the ball. He can find a way to get open in any kind of coverage, and especially against teams who like to play zone. He just kills these guys. Yeah. So you get the best, arguably two of the best three receivers in football in this game here.
However, I mean, I like to say that I just have this feeling this game is going to be like molasses. I don't know. I imagine that these Rams guys are going to project to be really strong, and I presume that Jefferson is going to project to be really strong, as will, I don't know if Thielen plays.
I don't know if Jefferson will project that well, though.
You don't think?
Well, just as nobody does against Ramsey.
I guess. I don't know. It seems to me that I don't know. I kind of want to avoid this game. Again, this is like part of the danger, whatever. I'm not looking at any projections or anything like that. Just instinctively, what's his name? Zimmer just doesn't like to ramp up the pace. Even what's his name? Even McVay doesn't really like to ramp up the pace either. If you think about it, I don't know. What do you like here? I mean, I guess Cook is always a good play, but is anybody a good play against the Rams defense? I don't know. It's a tough game for me.
Well, I mean, like, I think Cook is a good play at his price. I think that Kupp is a great play. I don't really, especially if we think that the game is going to be, even if we think it's going to be like, then he'll just catch like 15 balls. You know what I mean?
Okay.
He's going to find a way to get there somehow. And I think both of the other Rams receivers are strongly in play with Beckham and Jefferson. Just because they didn't do it last night against Seattle doesn't mean there isn't a ceiling for these guys, especially on the road, especially if they might really be threatened. They weren't exactly threatened in that game against Seattle last night. Sure, they get bleed at one point in the second, early in the third. But it was just like they felt like sort of they were always going to win that game no matter what happened. So I don't know. I mean, I think that Cook and Kupp would be my natural favorites, but that's a lot of money that you're spending. So maybe sneaking in against the worst pass defense in the NFL, a Van Jefferson or Odell Beckham. The only thing that worries me for those guys is this Ben Skowronek is getting some usage as well. He had a bunch of catches early in the game last night. It looked like he was going to be the weird slate changer. And then, Higbee's gone, but it's going to just mean solidify Kupp more and more. And I think you're going to see plays for Jefferson and Beckham. So I don't mind like the idea of playing the Rams are playing still with a chance for a 1 seed or at least a 2 seed at least. But it's going to be hard for them to get the 1, but they could win the division still. And I think that they're going to try to do that. I just think it's a short week for them. It's going to be a tough going east or, to Minnesota, but I don't really want to play a Minnesota like stack against the Rams. So I'm sort of with you. It's a little bit of a tough situation, and they bumped KJ Osborne's price up. I would have taken shots at him if he was still cheap. As of right now, I think it's mostly Kupp and Cook for me, but I don't mind the other guys, Jefferson or Jefferson is just, I don't love on a big slate. I don't love the idea of attacking Ramsey, but I do think Jefferson is basically matchup proof. So I don't know. It's a tricky one, and they're all really expensive. So I would probably stay away from the other guys and maybe play a little bit of Beckham and Van Jefferson.
Buffalo, New England. I do have an opinion on this game. I like Buffalo on the road here against New England. Yeah. And as far as the game goes, the last time these guys played was in that cold wind game in Buffalo, and New England got the better of them. I don't know what the weather's going to be like over in New England or whatever it is. I do think this game scores a little bit better. I mean, can't score worse, right? I think the game produces a little bit, and I would, it's risky because how Belichick does his thing, but I would go right back to Allen and Diggs. I do. I think that Diggs could have. Look, it's tough to have anybody have a big game against New England, but I think he's cheap enough at 7,600 where I would probably go right back to him. And Josh Allen, just for me, is just kind of like always in play. So for me, it'd be Allen and Diggs on the Buffalo side. And you could go back to those cheapos, right? Who did you give out last week that really, really smashed? The Gabe Davis with the touchdown. I think you could play him.
Well, Beasley's out with COVID.
Oh my.
supposedly as of right now. But then you've got Sanders who might be coming back. So one of Sanders or Davis should be a pretty strong play.
As far as the New England offense, I think the only thing I might be interested in is maybe, I don't know, not that much. I mean, Myers 4,900, I guess, is cheap enough. Henry is cheap enough at 4,700. Let's see if all those running backs remain out. If all those running backs remain out, like if Harris is still out, Stevenson at 5K, I guess is pretty good. I don't know. I just favor Buffalo just a little bit more in all parts of this game, actually.
I don't know if I'm on the same page there, but I do think that, like, I mean, it's a weird situation. I think what you're going to see is a ton of passes out of New England. I think they're going to do exactly the opposite of what they did last time.
Okay.
But I don't think that there's anybody who really stands out as being a good play still. Like they raise Hunter Henry's price, who'd be the guy I want the most. And I think he's an interesting pivot off of Goddard.
Yep.
But Jacoby Myers, these are terrible matchups for all these guys. These teams are awesome at stopping the passing game. So I love the price on Diggs, and he can always, I guess, put up a game, but I would rather play Gabriel Davis or Sanders, because I will always have a Josh Allen stack. I'm not always, I'm always in at least one of the big tournaments, because he's one of the few quarterbacks who can not even play his best game and put up a 40 fantasy point game. So my take is I lean a little bit more New England still here, but if they're really in trouble with Buffalo, that means just we're going to get the Josh Allen, like, dropping back 50 times or running the ball a bunch. And I'm a big fan of Allen to one or probably just one of them, but one of the two cheap receivers. That's where I would go.
Oh my, what the hell? I looked ahead to the Tampa Carolina game.
Sad about Godwin. He's tore his ACL, man. They thought it was way worse than they thought. He's out for the year.
Yeah, and not only that, but I mean, you got Fournette doubtful.
Yep.
I mean, okay, so Ronald Jones.
I'm not playing Ronald Jones.
Well, I'm just saying what's gonna be the deal, right?
But I don't think people are gonna play him as much as you think they are. We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ronald Jones, and then who's going to be the receiver? So is Evans even playing?
Questionable. So is Antonio Brown.
Yeah. So is Perriman? Is he eligible? He could return. This is like ridiculous to project this now, but someone's going to be cheap. I mean, I think
Antonio Brown's going to play, and I think he's like the play of the slate. I think it's going to.
Well, if Antonio Brown plays for real at 4,900, I mean that's just that's Cram City. You know what I mean? They just have to do that.
As close to the lock as you get for a wide receiver, I think.
Yeah, that sounds about right to me.
Yeah.
So we just have to wait and see on that. Carolina, I think Tampa's gonna look. I don't know if they can, but I mean they're coming off a loss. They're decimated on offense now. I think the defense didn't do poorly last week. They gave up 9 points, right? So I think they're going to have a good game. But I don't know. Maybe you could play some of this Carolina. Maybe take another shot at the Robbie Anderson again at 4,900. I don't know. DJ Moore 5,700. I mean, if anything, you don't want to play the running backs from Carolina. If anything, you want to play the receivers. So yeah, why not? Why not DJ Moore? Why not the Robbie Anderson? I don't know.
Yep. I'm going to make sure to get some Cam stacks in there.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I just think that, I mean, like they still make him cheap. He has such a high rushing touchdown upside. Like, I mean, what is he just runs for touchdowns? Has he run every single game for a touchdown? Yeah, since he's been with the Panthers, every single game he's run for at least.
I think he included that in his contract, that he had to be given a red zone look to score a touchdown every game.
He gets like every red zone look. I mean,
yeah. Exactly.
And I hate both running games. Both these teams defend the run as well as anybody in football.
Yep.
So I would like to attack this pass game from a passing standpoint. Antonio Brown on one side with Cam Newton to either Moore or Anderson on the other side, especially Moore. That's something I can get behind. So I'm into that idea. That's pretty much all I got for this game, but I do think it's a good game.
I'll tell you this. I mean, again, like this is a projections. This is projection city, because you know what's going to happen. I'm telling you, Ronald Jones. Ronald Jones is gonna like project well because he's 5,100, without people realizing Tampa literally never runs the ball.
Well, they run the ball with Fournette a little bit, but even still, like I wouldn't like Fournette in this. Like this is the nut low matchup for Tampa Bay. This is the team that guards the run better than anybody does.
Right.
Everybody acts like Tampa is just this awful thing. Maybe their offense is, but like their defense is legitimate. Like Buffalo was struggling moving the ball with them last week. It wasn't like it was just a piece of cake for them. So I don't know. I think that they've got a pretty solid defense. I still think Brady and them will win the game and everything, but I love the idea of playing a Newton stack against this Tampa Bay defense that does get burned through the air all the time.
So there are some really, really good games to win $1 million. And I think this next one's just got to be one of them, right? I mean, Jacksonville Jets is just like a legendary spot of like the two worst teams that can't play defense against offense. They're no bargain either. But look, Michael Carter is pretty good. What's his name? James Robinson is pretty good. Both teams have nothing to lose. They're going to be slinging the ball all over the place also. I mean, I don't know. I think this game can deliver. I'm looking at the next two games like as kind of a team. The Detroit-Atlanta game too. Detroit-Atlanta game probably more so. But I think this Jacksonville Jets game is very, very live. I think both sides, you get cheap receivers everywhere. You get cheap quarterbacks everywhere. You get a cheap running back in Carter. What's the spread? Not spread. What's the price on Robinson? He's still only 5,900 against the Jets. I don't know. I think you're gonna get a lot of value out of this game.
Yeah, James Robinson is going to be rightfully so probably the chalk of the slate, I think.
As he always is, I guess.
But I just want to say, be careful. Like, this is Jacksonville really, 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 other than the Urban Meyer narrative and then the bouncing back and everything, they should be losing games. Like, so I don't know. I actually feel more like strong about it's interesting. Like, which narrative do you play? The Lions are just like that team that plays tough every week. And even the Jets to some extent are sort of like that. The Jags, I don't know what the hell we think about them. We thought we'd see them show up. They really, got pretty much blitzed by a Houston team that was playing really hard. I don't know. I'm sort of stuck on this one, Sheets. I don't know if I have as strong of a take here. Like, I guess it's Robinson is the natural thing for me. I do think Marvin Jones will have a game one of these days soon. I think Berrios or Crowder, kind of interesting on the other side against this pass defense, but not overwhelmingly excited about any of it so much. So I'm a little bit lower on this one. I'm going to be high on Robinson. I'm going to be high on potentially Marvin Jones by the end of the week. And on the other side, I think that I really don't have like a guy who just makes perfect sense. I don't think they need to try to win games. So I don't really know. I don't know. I'm sort of stuck on this one. I'm also curious to see who ends up playing. Like, maybe Berrios is probably the best answer of any of these guys if you're going to take a shot, but even that feels pretty damn thin. So I don't know. Maybe it's just a pass.
So I'm totally annoyed. I totally forgot that Goff is in COVID protocol, which sucks. I mean, I really thought this game could deliver here, but Detroit, they're not going to do anything with Tim Boyle if he's quarterback. You know what I mean? That's just not happening. I don't think. And as Detroit showed last week, and not as last week, as they showed like every week this season except for one, maybe they're not the worst defensive team out there either. So I was expecting to like a little bit more of this. So I don't know. I'll take a look at projection when they come up, but you still have if you get any kind of quarterback, you have these Detroit guys who've been playing well. The St. Brown, what's his name? You can play Jefferson. Jefferson, is that who he is? Not Jefferson. Reynolds. For Detroit if you want. And Atlanta, you play Pitts and Gage. Man, I don't know. I'm going to take a look at this again because I really do want to play this dome game if I can.
Yeah. I think Cordarrelle Patterson, it's time to fire him back up again.
I like it.
And I think he's going to have a big week too. I really feel good about him this week. I really like Swift and Jamal Williams may both be back this week, which is just,
oh wow, I didn't know that. Okay,
it's possible, but if they do that, you could sort of take it as a sign that they're definitely trying to win.
Yep.
I still am kind of fascinated by this St. Brown. He literally looks open all the time. Every time I watch the Lions play, he looks wide open, and he's been incredible at creating space. He's made some big plays. He scored some a little bit lately. I could get behind St. Brown in this game. with Patterson on the other side. That's my favorite way to do it. I don't think I would want to get too heavily involved other than that. I think there's an argument to be made to play Tim Boyle. And that sounds nuts. He's 4K, so you get an extra 1,600 off of the other viable quarterbacks. If you do believe it all in the Patterson on the one side and Tim Boyle, like, I mean, he had a lousy game the other time he played. He threw 2 picks and, it was 15 of 23 for 77 yards. But that was against Cleveland. This is Atlanta. I don't know. Maybe it's a reach. Maybe you don't need to do it on this slate, but I'm just throwing it out there. It did occur to me because you have, the second worst pass defense in football, basically, against Tim Boyle, and you could play St. Brown as a receiver. That's pretty much all I would have, actually, is St. Brown. But and then I really like both Pitts, but I especially like Patterson on the other side.
Yeah, just to throw in something for the St. Brown guy, they have to really like this guy.
Yeah,
I don't know if I commented on this, but for those of you that feel like deep diving, when Detroit won their game, not the Arizona game, but the one before that, when they won on the last play of the game against Minnesota, it was a crazy play they called with fourth down, like the last play of the game. But you never think this, but they basically ran the play exactly for St. Brown. Like they used Hawkinson as like a decoy crossing over the middle and someone else crossing over a decoy. And the play was completely designed for St. Brown, which shows you know what I mean? Like they really regard him as a real go-to dude. So, hey, if I can get any kind of convincing that Tim Boyle is competent, I think I'll still try it. And this Pitts is he's a superstar. I really like him. Gage had a good game. Maybe I will go back to this.
Yeah, I think it's a game worth going to. I'd like to see a little more from Pitts personally. I'm a little frustrated with the limited production, but this is the kind of game where you could see him getting off for sure. What do you think about this next one? Because this to me is the game I thought you were going to be talking about at first.
I will.
Let's talk about it.
I think there's going to be points here as well. LAC, they just score every game. Houston does seem to give up points, but Houston, like you said, they've been feisty also. Mm-hmm. So they could stay in the game and you get and you could play what's his name again, Cooks, and then man, what's his name dropped I think a touchdown, Nico Collins. That would have been a good.
That would have been huge. I ended up playing in one of my big ones.
Yeah, that would have been a good one. And it's at Houston, so the game I guess could stay close. It's still like an 11-point spread, right?
I don't know the spread, but
something like that. Maybe 10 actually. But I guess it's okay. I just certainly like the Charger side. But the thing is that I think Eckler, is he legit questionable? He didn't practice. He's on the COVID list. Oh God, he's on the COVID list also.
Yeah, so it could be Justin Jackson time.
Justin Jackson, like Lock City time, I guess. Well, no, Kelly got his.
Yeah,
right?
They'll let Kelly get a few carries too.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah. And I know that when the Chargers do it, they'll bring in guys in for like full series, for full possessions, I think. So I guess it's fine. Who's going to be the wide receivers? Allen and Williams are both in. Yeah, I like the Chargers. I don't know. Is it going to be my favorite? I guess you have to wait and see. But they certainly, against the Houston defense, certainly rate to put up some points.
Yeah, and I like Herbert to Allen, I guess, followed by Williams. I think actually Williams could be a good game for him because you can burn Houston with big plays, and that's exactly what Williams does. So sort of like Williams a little bit. I wish we had one tight end for Houston because this would be a spot where I would be saying, hey, you know what, Sheets, if Jordan Akins wasn't available, I would be in on your Pharaoh Brown, although they've been giving the Bevan Jordan looks, and it's very hard to know which one. They're literally thrown to all 3 tight ends, so I don't know which one to pick. Right. But I think the Herbert stack makes some sense with whether it be a Cooks, although I don't necessarily love Cooks here. Maybe Nico Collins running back, that could be an interesting play. And then one of these tight ends for either Houston and then also Jared Cook. This is like a great matchup for him too. So I think, maybe Herbert to Allen and Cooks. I don't even like Cooks usually. I'm assuming that's if Parham is out, by the way. I don't want to play him as much if Parham is in. I just think that they like Parham. They run things for Parham. They like Anderson too, but it's not the same as Parham where they're going to get him some looks. I think Jared Cook could have one of his better games this year in this spot. So I do like the Herbert stacks. I don't know what else to do with it until we know who's playing. but that's where I'm at right now.
This next game is really just really testing my mettle here, because Cincinnati went into Baltimore and won 41-17. So everything in my heart tells me I'm supposed to take Baltimore plus the points in Cincinnati against the spread. But however, on the other side of the coin, I think Burrow and the Cincinnati offense goes off in this spot. I do. I think that you talk about park shifts or whatever. They have park shifts from playing the San Francisco and Denver defenses in back-to-back games. Yep. Okay. And now they're playing Baltimore, who still remains overrated as far as I'm concerned. I think Cincinnati goes freaking bananas in this game offensively. And I do hope that Lamar plays. If Lamar doesn't play, this game is a freaking train wreck. I
don't agree. I think Huntley is really good. I mean, look, they basically they win that game half the time against the team that's arguably the best team in football, or one of the best two teams in football.
I'm with you. I see that, but
yeah, I like them either way.
Yeah. In any case, I do think that Cincinnati's offense is in a really, really great spot here, and at least at first glance, let me look at the prices even. I mean, Chase 71, T 62, Tyler Boyd 51. What's Mixon? 69?
No,
Zoma 3K. Yeah, this is my first game. I want this.
Yeah, I'm very into the whole game as well. I like both sides of it, though. I like whether it's Huntley or Jackson to Andrews on one side. Look, they just get slaughtered by tight end. Cincinnati, I've mentioned this all season long. And both teams actually get slaughtered by tight ends. But I don't think I need to go to Uzomah, although that's kind of an interesting way to go. I think this is a double tight end week for me. I really like a lot of these spend ups at tight end. I didn't even mention Gronk before, but I think they're gonna do their best to not let Chase just massacre them the way he did last time, didn't he? I'm pretty sure he had a really big game there. Yeah, he had 8 catches for what did he have? A couple touchdowns there. He had 10 catches. Sorry, he had 8 catches for 200 yards. I think they'll do a better job on Chase. So I might lean a little more Higgins and Boyd in this one. I think Bateman is a good value on Baltimore. But I think the main plays are Andrews, any one to three, any one or two of the Cincinnati receivers, including Uzomah, with either Burrow, who's way too cheap, or Lamar Jackson, who's way too cheap if he plays, and Tyler Huntley, who has shown that he has the ability to do at least a somewhat of a Lamar Jackson impression. So all of those guys are interesting. This is a great game to target. I'm very much with you.
This next game, I don't know which team gives up first here. I think that Seattle, listen, respect for Seattle. I thought they were totally done, and they had a good game a couple of weeks ago. Give themselves mathematic chances to win, and they played. They played hard enough against.
They played hard.
They played hard enough, but now they're out. And at some point, I think they shut down Wilson. I do. At the very least, I don't think that. I don't know. Carroll. Listen, I've always talked about Carroll a lot. I never really liked him, but he does get his teams playing. He loves winning. He loves playing. So it's kind of hard for me to say that he's going to give up or whatever it is. And his teams always play for him, but I don't know. At some point, Seattle's just going to have a really crappy game. And Chicago, boy, this team, man, there are teams like this. They just, even when they look like they're doing better, then they have like penalties upon penalties, and they're just so undisciplined. They're just a horror show, So I don't know. I don't know what I can get behind in this game, really. Do you like anything at all here?
I don't know, man. It's this is a tough one for me because
you can see Montgomery project as a good play, by the way.
Well, I think Montgomery is a good play.
Yeah, I mean,
but Metcalf and Mooney are so cheap, like it's kind of tempting.
Penny again?
I almost would be more tempted to play, like if Geno Smith was the quarterback, I'd almost be more tempted to play Metcalf.
Okay.
Just because I don't feel like they're not looking for. I just feel like, it was Ramsey. He's coming off some tough matchups too, by the way. Maybe Metcalf just going back and just blindly clicking that button. I'm not playing either of the stacks. I would say that Justin Fields, it wouldn't surprise me if he won the Millionaire Maker, so he'll be in my player pool for sure. He's got the ability to, the run pass upside for a guy. You don't get that at 5,200 with anybody else, basically. And even when he fails, he still puts up good numbers most of the time. Like, he's because of the rushing upside. And if he just stopped fumbling and throwing interceptions, we'd be fine, you know. But Seattle has no secondary. Although the Rams didn't really take great advantage outside of Cooper Kupp last night in that. I'm not going to play the quarterbacks. I'll play a little bit of Fields, but I think that mostly it's going to be the Montgomery and then some Metcalf for me. I don't think there's anything wrong. Oh, Cole Kmet is still too cheap also at 3,200.
Yeah.
So Kmet actually should be a priority play. So there's stuff to do in this game. It's just not like the most exciting thing in the world.
Oh, wait a minute. This next game is the nuts, right?
Maybe.
So you have Tyreek with COVID. So we got all kinds of stuff going on here, right? Look at these receivers.
I know.
Are you kidding me? Yeah. Wait. Kelsey also? Oh my God.
Yeah, I know.
Oh well. You know what? Let's see what you can do, Mr. Mahomes. Let's see what you got. This is going to be a good test,
especially against the blitz-heavy team that.
Yeah, let's see what you got.
That can play defense regardless of what anybody says.
Yeah, I will tell you that I like the Pittsburgh side too.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna be psyched for this game. I don't know exactly who's gonna be playing, but all those Pittsburgh receivers between Claypool and Johnson and I hope Freiermuth plays. I like him. He had a concussion, whatever. Najee Harris. Yeah, I don't know. This could be a I wonder what the spread is going to be if Hill and Kelsey are both ruled out, for example.
They'll still be favored.
They got to be favored, but
I'm more interested in what the total is.
Yeah, it's still going to be 50.
Yeah,
it has to be. I mean, it just does. You like any of the running? You think the Chiefs try to run the ball? You think that's going to be the deal?
It's fine. I think it's a fine spot to run, but the problem is they have two running backs that they're, sort of splitting some of the usage here. I like Najee Harris on the Pittsburgh side. One thing all year long, KC's been burned by a lot of running backs. I like both Johnson. I think Claypool is too cheap now at this point, so I think it's time to take a chance on Claypool. And then I think you could literally stack this game without playing, because Mahomes' price now, it doesn't matter because the receivers are so cheap. But maybe you don't need to play him, and you can play two of these receivers at least without him, and then play Najee on the other side. Najee and potentially one of Claypool or Johnson on the other side. I think that's really an interesting way to go. And it's an important game. It's a big game for Pittsburgh, kind of, depending if they still think they're in it or not. I would lean Pringle and Hardman over Robinson, but I do like Robinson as well. I don't know what to do with the tight end situation because they will find a way to get the tight ends involved, and I don't know who that's going to be because Blake Bell's out, Fortson's out.
Just pause for just a sec.
Yep.
Hey, I'm recording.
So just about the tight ends, I think that maybe whoever we think is going to be the main tight end is viable at 2,500. But I think I'd rather just play a different tight end and play these receivers, potentially two of them in just outside of stacks. I don't think that you need to necessarily play the quarterbacks in this game with it, but you could. It's just I named some other quarterbacks that I liked that were cheaper, but do we need to go any cheaper? It would allow us to play maybe it's going to make it really easy to play Cooper Kupp and Dalvin Cook if we want to go back to that original thought idea, which I liked. And by the way, Seattle did a pretty decent job running the ball last night against the Rams for what it's worth. So maybe taking Cook in that and then playing two of these receivers from KC with Najee Harris. And you double spend up at running back. I like that idea. It's really hard to imagine, even as much as he could spread the ball around, it's really, really hard to imagine at least one of these receivers doesn't have a big game with Mahomes as a quarterback, right?
I mean, I don't know which one of them is going to be 70% home, but one of them is going to be, right? I mean,
no, I don't think they will be because there's not a real precedent for like which one is ahead of the others. Like there's word that they like Pringle better at times. Then Hardman's their skilled guy and but he's never really on the receiving game. Hasn't really done anything ever. Demarcus Robinson gets just as many looks as these guys do not just as many, but close to as many for the season.
I'll tell you what's going to happen. This game will get moved.
You think it's going to get moved?
I don't know.
It would be so smart of the NFL to do it. You're so right. You're so right, Sheets.
Yeah.
You're so right. It's going to get moved. It's going to get
moved.
I
think they're going to tell Mahomes to go into protocols for contact tracing.
Yeah, you're right.
And then they'll move it.
Yeah, I 1,000% agree. It feels like a good move candidate. All right, you ready to talk about the finale here, the Denver and Vegas?
Yeah. Josh Jacobs, if he play, I guess Josh Jacobs if he plays. I guess Renfro again. Fighting the Denver defense is not usually a sound move. But they do play better on the at home. But I don't know. Not too much of an interest aside from Josh Jacobs and Renfro, I suppose. Denver. I don't know. You want to play Melvin Gordon or Javonte Williams? I don't know. Nothing immediately stands out from this game.
It's really hard for Denver for me because I hate the split. You know, like basically they're the closest thing to like a full split of running backs. But they like one of them usually puts up a big game. But they literally both had 15 carries last week. You know, it's like okay, but they're still getting enough work, and that was in a tough match. This is a team that cannot stop anybody running the ball. So it's interesting, but it's really hard to justify over the Montgomerys who get all the work, over the James Robinson who gets the work. But you look at how bad Vegas has been. Would it be surprising to see Javonte Williams with 160 yards and 2 touchdowns on even 15 carries? That's completely in the cards.
Yeah. And
I also at the same time I like Jerry Jeudy. And again, Vegas is better in general against the pass, but like it's partially because they're so bad against the run. Jeudy, Patrick, and Sutton, I think are all in play, but especially Jeudy and Sutton for me. And then on the Raiders side, I guess you could make an argument for some of these guys. I just don't know what it is unless Darren Waller plays, in which case I'm going to take some shots on double tight end stacks with Darren Waller. These games historically, look, they tend to always be close. They often tend to be way higher scoring than you'd project. It happens all the time in these division games. Both Vegas, between Vegas, Denver, and now the LA Chargers, those games always tend to I feel like they hit the over. I don't have it written it out, but I feel like they hit the over a lot. Oh, I forgot to mention Fant too. So I guess I like a lot of pieces of Denver's offense. If I had to rank them though, it's going to be probably Fant 1 actually, probably Javonte Williams 2, and then probably after that you get into the receiving core with Jeudy, then Sutton, then Patrick.
And I actually don't mind Drew Lock as a backup. You know what I mean? Like,
no,
I think he's okay. It's not like Vegas' defense is no great shakes.
No great shakes, yeah. All right, well, so my priorities are going to be something in the KC-Pittsburgh game if it happens, because there's just too much value there. Baltimore-Cincinnati as a game stack. I like Hurts to Goddard, going back to that first game. I like Newton to Moore with the potential run back in that one. And I don't think we need to do the weird thing, but I like St. Brown a lot. I like Antonio Brown. You're going to have a hard time getting him out of my lineups if he plays. And then one of Sanders or Gabriel Davis, which is going to make spending up at running back really easy, or double spending up at tight end, which I think is interesting, playing Andrews and a Kyle Pitts or Goddard or something like that. And it's not even spending that high up. So you're going to have room for defenses this week. And I would just say that, just right off the bat, the Eagles defense is going to stand out as being one of the best ones. And the Chargers, Bucks.
And the Falcons too.
And the Falcons. Yep. Those are the ones. All right.
I will second your Cincinnati play. I like that a lot. Andrews for me would be the run back. No big surprise. And sprinkles on the crap games, like the Jets, Jacksonville, the Houston. I would say the Houston LAC is a crap game, but like the Houston side, But I definitely like Cincinnati, and that Pittsburgh Kansas City game is going to be. It's interesting. When do they have to announce the starters for that game? Can they still test in after 1 o'clock game start for a 4 o'clock game? I don't know. I don't know what's going on there, but that game is going to be where all the value goes, presuming it goes, and presuming that those 3,500 guys oh man, it's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it should be wild. It should be fun. Good luck to everybody on week 16. And I'll be with you 11:30 a.m. Sunday morning, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Good luck to everybody.
And stay on top of we'll get the content out for pretty much every slate. We don't know exactly whether it's going to be me and Bobby, just me, live, whatever it is. You'll get enough to get through all the football games.
Absolutely. All right. Good luck, everybody.
All right. Later, Bobby.